Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Erwana Saputra, and today I would like to review the journal from Mr. Chandra, and my date number is 2102050085, and I want to review the journal and the title of the journal is The Relationship Between Shyness and Motivation to Speak English of the First Year Student of English Study Program of FKIP UIR Pekanbaru. The objective of the research are to find out if there is a relationship between shyness and motivation to speak English of the first year student of English study program of FKIP UIR Pekanbaru. And second is to know their shyness and their motivation to speaking English. And third is to know how the relationship between shyness and motivation to speaking English of the first year student of English study program of FKIP UIR Pekanbaru. Shyness means a feeling about oneself in a presence of others, and motivation is process of stimulating people to action accomplish desired goals. And we go next. Speaking is one of the 4 language skills. The purpose of the speaking is to convey an idea of or message to the listener. To be able to speak correctly, one must know all sorts of the language rule in order to avoid miscommunication among speakers and listener. We have to learn grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Speaking is productive skills. Windows 1984 states communication through speaking is commonly performed in face-to-face and occur as part of dialogue. The idea of the speaking itself cannot be communication unless what is being said is received and understood by another person. Speaking is oral interaction where the participant need to negotiate the meaning contained in ideas, feelings, and information and manage in terms who is to say what, to whom, and what is the speaking about. In fact, in the English study program of FKIP UIR Pekanbaru, some of the speaking students tend to be shy in speaking English in front of the class, even though the students have learned English from elementary school up to senior high school. They are still unable to express ideas by speaking or making conversations friends of the class. It means that they still have difficulties to express their ideas and feeling. This might happen because of their feeling of shyness themselves. They are shy because they have no self-confidence. The writers know that many of the students are shy in speaking. Half of them can communicate by using English, but they are shy to speak or make conversation with friends. Among them, only few students are able to speak. The other half can be classified as passive students. According to Linus, shyness is partly a result of genes of a person inherited. It also influenced by behavior they have learned, the ways people have reacted to their shyness and life experience they have. And for the matter of the journalist, this research is a descriptive quantitative. The research involves collecting data in order to answer questions concerning the status of the subject of the study. The writer focused on the relationship between students' shyness and their motivation to speaking English. So, there are 2 variables in this research. They are independent students' shyness, and dependent students or motivation to speak. Finding and discussion. This research was concluded to know the relationship between 2 variables, namely students' shyness as the independent variable or X, and the students' is motivated to speak English as the dependent variable or Y. And for the conclusion of this journal is based on the data analysis present in the previous chapter. The writer draws some conclusion as follows. A. From the data analysis, it can be concluded that there is a significant relationship between students' shyness and their motivation to speak English. The coefficient determinant of R2 influenced by their shyness that indicate the higher of the level shyness, the lower motivation to speak, and lower of level shyness, the higher the motivation to speak English will become. Only 40% on the respondent that we are indeed shy. Some of the students become shy to deal with the people from a different social class or to work with more skilled people and worry about what others think of them. This observable from this percentage of it highest among the 3 indicators of shyness. I think that's all from me, and that's all from the journal want to know, and for the writer want to tell about this research. I think that's all. And assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.